teams, Biggs.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
as always, we end with some predictions. And as always, I can only assume that you did not write yours down, which means that I have to go through mine first, and
Well,
then
you know what
so that
happens
you
when you
can.
assume, John?
Oh, do you have yours written down? Do you
I
want to go
have
first?
predictions.
Okay, let's hear them.
I brought
Who's
it.
your Who's your all conference team?
All right, to be honest with you, I came up with about 40 worthy guys because this league, I don't know. There's
It
so
was
many
tough to
teams that
come.
I feel so
It was
similar
tough to come up
about.
with them.
Huh?
It was tough to come up with them.
It's
It was
really
hard.
hard. I had a really hard time coming up with five guys because there's just so many like good players that I just don't know who's great. But
Hmm.
we're gonna give it a stab because who cares? I'm gonna pick. I got Javon Quinterly, the Alabama point guard. I think he is going to. He was a Super Six man for Alabama last year, and so his numbers were a little bit deflated by kind of the lack of minutes and taking another step up after sitting out a year after playing at Villanova. I think he has kind of the chains, the shackles, shackle forward. I think the shackles are off of him. I think he's going to have like kind of the show, and I wouldn't be surprised if he piles up big point totals. I could see Bama not being as good as maybe some people think, but I think Quinterly is going to like put up some big point totals because he's going to be the man.
Hmm.
I have Ty Washington. This probably could just be a reserve spot for a Kentucky player. I feel like I have to pick a Kentucky player because I think they're going to be good. So I'm going to go with Ty Washington because he's the hyped up 5-star freshman. I think the rest of Kentucky is like rock solid, and I feel like I know what I'm getting with the rest of those guys. If Ty Washington pops, this Kentucky team's good enough to win the whole thing, and I think he'll pop.
Hmm.
I've got Josiah James from Tennessee. He's a guy that maybe I overvalue like the. I have like a weird soft spot for the guys who like probably average about 12 points, 7 rebounds, and like a handful of assists and play good defense. I don't know if that's like an all conference type of player,
How
but
dare you value all those great things?
I know I value winning plays over just
Yeah.
stats. And
Right.
so I could see him kind of having like, Herb Jones won it last year, averaging like 10 points and a bunch of rebounds and some assists and playing good defense. I could see Josiah Jordan James kind of doing like what Herb Jones did, where he doesn't score a ton, but his team's really effective, and he's just kind of he's like as you put it, the straw that stirs that drink.
Hmm.
I have Jalen Tate because I do like Arkansas, and there's another one where it's like somebody from Arkansas I think has to be in there because they're too good not to. And then I've got Alan Flanagan from Auburn, who was like the top scoring returner for Auburn. I think he's got a chance to um, put up bigger point totals. I think if he has point guards that can get him the ball where he can knock down shots, I think he's got a really good chance as kind of a knockdown 3-and-D guy. Um,
Hmm.
there is all the obvious caveat is Keontae Johnson. If he's healthy, then I think he's the best
Yeah.
player in the league. I don't think he will be though. So that's my five.
Yeah. All right. And let's see. I think we have two of the same ones. And I've talked about it extensively in past pods where I don't like putting two guys from the same team. I didn't even think twice about it here. I have both Javon Quinterly and Jaden Shackelford on my team. I think they're both uber talented. And I think we talked earlier about how like they don't have a ton of depth, so there's not going to be bench guys stealing opportunities from them. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for the both of them to go around, and I think both of them could be all conference when it's all said and done. And like, to be honest, they could both average. They were 14 for Shackelford, 12 for Quinterly last year. They could both average 18 points per game. I can
I
see that
agree.
happening.
I can see
Yeah,
them both putting up 20.
yeah. I also have Alan Flanagan, who you talked about, from Auburn, and could I see? We talked about all the guard talent that they have. Could I see sort of like them stealing some of the attention from Flanagan, possibly? But I still think he's gonna have plenty of opportunity. I don't know how you left off Scottie Pippen.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think he's the top returning player in the conference. I think that's the case even if Keontae Johnson ends up playing. Um, so I have him on, and then I had to get a big man on there, Biggs. And I could have went with one of the guys from Auburn, but I did end up going with Colin Castleton over at Florida just because I do think that he will have plenty of opportunity there. They do have a ton of guard talent, but he's really their main piece in the post, and he's just such a big dude. So I have him on there as well. Bigs, top freshman.
I like your list better than I like my list, to be honest with you. I can't believe I didn't put Scottie Pippen on there.
Hmm.
And then I'm kind of with you with either Castleton or maybe Walker Kessler
Hmm.
as kind of the big man. This league is just so tough, though.
I
Man, I
know.
have a hard time with it. Um, I also made a mistake. I have Kennedy Chandler as my top freshman, yet somehow I had Ty Ty Washington on my first team All SEC. So clearly that doesn't really work.
Well,
Um,
I've seen a lot of conferences. They'll do player of the year, and then they'll do the top, like the preseason all conference, but the player of the year is not included. So maybe that's what you're doing. He's top freshman, so he can't be on the all conference.
that's what I'll do. I'm gonna
Yeah.
spread the love. I'm gonna go with Kennedy Chandler then as my top freshman.
Okay. I like it, and that's where I was
Boom.
gonna go with. So now I have to come up with a different one. I'm just gonna scroll through here. I'm just gonna give options here. JD Davidson's a guy who, we talked about Shackelford and Quinley. JD Davidson is a guy who he's gonna be like the third guard in that lineup, so he's gonna have plenty of opportunity. From Auburn, Jabari Smith, another top 10 guy. You talked about Ty Ty Washington, obviously he's definitely a candidate. Davion Collins from Kentucky. We didn't talk a whole lot about him, but he's another talented freshman coming in. So those are some of your options. That's the all freshman conference team. Boom. Coach of the year, Biggs.
Musselman.
The
I think
must
Eric
bust.
Musselman. Yep. I think the Must Bus has like a. I think part of it is how well the media kind of likes this coach and like if they've got kind of the story. I think Musselman has got that kind of going for him. He's got Arkansas rolling. I think they're going to be the best team in the conference. I think they'll be like a top 10 team all season long. And I'm thinking about this now just as I kind of process this in the moment. I do worry a little bit about, boy, when he had Nevada had like a great run in the tournament and they followed it up the next year and were not the same. They kind of fell flat when he had the
You're
Martin
worried.
twins.
You're
I'm a
worried.
little worried now. Am I buying too much into just assuming they're going to keep on ascending? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess I sit and I could also make that case for literally every team that was good last year not being as good. That's just like life in college hoops. Sometimes teams aren't as good as they were. I think
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas is going to be legit. I really do.
Okay.
I like them. I like the story with Musselman being kind of a college basketball figurehead. There we go.
Do you
Boom.
like that he takes his shirt off? What percentage of you picking
Of
him
course.
is that you get to see him without his shirt?
Absolutely. Who doesn't?
Okay. Uh, my guy, Biggs, Bruce Pearl, coming from Auburn,
Let's
and
go.
I just think their team that is a little overlooked. They have a ton of talent. I don't think they're being talked about enough, and I think people are gonna be surprised by how good they are.
I buy that. I like Bruce Pearl. I think he's as good a coach as any of them. I worry that people probably won't vote for him just because they don't like him.
Hmm.
But I think I think Auburn's going to be legit, and I think Bruce Pearl's a good coach.
Yeah. All right, so we're through everything. And Biggs, I'm excited for this conference
I
very much. We're gonna look back like February, March, and we're gonna say this is easily the best conference in the country. I think. One thing I am concerned about though, and this might be what I end on here, is I have a bit of conspiracy theory here.
hmm,
Think back to a year ago, Coach K. He says, I don't know if we should be playing games. Remember that? Due to
I do
COVID.
remember that.
And after they had lost a couple games in a row, and then you get Nate Oates on the microphone, and he says, "Do you think Coach K would be saying that if his team wasn't losing?"
Ooh,
And think about
coming from
everything
Nate
going
Oates,
on
you think
right.
is Nate Oates going to get a call this year?
I think there's gonna be some fishy stuff going on. Coach K is gonna pull his strings. It's his farewell tour already. He's already pulling strings. We know that. It's proven in our minds. And he's gonna do whatever he can to sabotage Alabama's season.
Yeah, no, I am. Boy, I'm with you on this. I think
Okay.
everything things seem just a little too. I think Alabama's gotten a little too. Um, the Nate Oates rise has happened a little too easily, too seamlessly. Things have just gone too easy. Everybody is drinking the Nate Oates Kool Aid. It would be extremely Duke for
Mm-hmm.
Alabama just to have one of those fall flat on your face seasons. Nate Oates to maybe the true colors come out. Maybe he's not as cool and collected. He's this fun Nate Oates. Maybe we see the little negative side of Nate Oates. Maybe Coach K gets his revenge, um, exposing Nate Oates a little bit, but also just poking and prodding and Yeah, I could see that. I could see that
So,
happening. The wheels are turning in my mind as I process this, but
you know,
I'm not
people
sure
are
what
saying
exactly
Coach
you're
K
selling, but I'm
farewell
buying it.
tour. People are saying Coach K farewell tour. I'm thinking Coach K revenge tour.
That's what I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah, maybe a
Okay.
little bit. A little
All
bit.
right. Let's end
Combo of
on that.
both.
Let's get out of here.
Let's.
Bye.
Bye.